Live talk. Hi everybody, how you doing? Welcome on in. And I forgot to turn this down. Okay, there we go. That was loud to me. I don't know if you could hear it or not. So,
Yeah, I heard it.
welcome in everybody and say hi to my guest tonight. We have Russell from the Dreaming Yarn. Oh, I forgot to do that. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
I meant to do that and I had the other noise and then I forgot. I'm really usually with it. So, but anyway, as people come in, and I do know a couple of people for sure who will be here tonight, um, let us know what's in your cup and on your hook as you come in tonight. So, I know you just showed me, but what are you working on tonight, Russell?
Well, um, it's almost like an everyday event, but I have my, um, it represents a scrap blanket, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm using hand dyed minis from Aberdeen Wools out of Canada.
Okay, I actually was going to ask you where you got those from. So,
Aberdeen Wools, they're based in Canada. Uh, I did talk to the owner a couple of days ago because some people on my channel was asking, is it something that they're going to have all the time? Is it just a limited time? So they had some questions. So I asked the owner
hmm
because me and the owner messaged back and forth, and she says it's something they've always had. It's one of their biggest sellers, and they have no intentions to discontinue anytime soon.
I can see, why it is. It's actually kind of funny because I watch a couple different dyers. I mean, I've actually dyed a couple hanks of yarn myself, and I have some bare yarn here still for that I want to dye. And I'm looking at getting some acid dyes because my husband told me that if I get some, he will actually help me use them
Oh, very
and
nice.
dye them. But we'd have to go outside because we have cats and we don't, want them to breathe it in. Um, Kathy's here. She says, "Hi, AJ and Russell, drinking coffee and working on a shawl." And I guess first, I didn't say I've got my coffee to keep my migraine away today and my cat toy that I am working on.
And I've
So,
got my whoop. There we go. I got my coffee cup, and it does have its own little spoon.
oh, cool. I've seen those, but never got one. And Fiber Spider is here. Hello. He says, "Hey, all, attempting a new shawl here too. LOL." Well, I cannot wait to see it. And I
Matter
can tell you that Kathy is one of your biggest fans because every time her and I work on a shawl lately, she's like, "I've done this one of Fiber Spiders and that one of Fiber Spiders." So
matter of fact, Craig just put out a new shawl, a poncho, today.
awesome. I forgot your name was Craig. I knew that. I apologize. One thing about me that everybody who follows me knows, I am bad with names. I'm really great with the names that I see on the screen, but actually remembering regular names, I am bad with. I only remember yours because, I mean, we've been talking for a little bit. So,
I
about doing the live.
cannot I cannot see the chat, so
Okay. Well, I read everything. So,
okay.
Viber Craig, he made a smiley laughing face and then he says it's in the prototype stage. So, right now there's just Kathy and Craig here as far as I know, unless we have some lurkers. So, that's one thing I always do is read back what comes up in the chat. So if you and I are talking, I may halt and say, "Okay, somebody said something."
And that's perfectly fine because, like I said, I've got to blur out my screen in order to see the comments.
Right, and I've heard that from some other people when they're on StreamYard. Usually, it's because they're on their phone. So, but I know that happens. So, Kathy says, "Hi, Fiber Spider. Love your new poncho. I already did the shawl and look forward to doing the poncho." And Craig said, "Thank you, Kathy." She just made. If you're talking about if the poncho is a poncho made with the hearts, she just did a shawl with your heart motif, and it is gorgeous. I keep telling her, I'd love to have one of those. Of course, I can go and make it myself, but I just keep on. That's so nice. Are you sure you want that? You sure you don't want to give that away? So yeah,
I
it's gorgeous.
always ask Craig when he does something. It's like, are you putting that on Etsy? You putting that on Etsy?
Yeah.
And sometimes he'll be like, yeah. I says, well, how much you going to charge for it? And he, I'm not asking him for a special price. It's just,
Right.
what are you going to post it at? And then he'll tell me, and it's okay. Don't even post it. Just mail it to me, and I'll send you the money.
Cool. Thank you, Kathy. And then he said it's leaf motifed. Okay, I think I've seen that. I think that's the newer one she's working on. She says it's an arbor leaf shawl and poncho. And he
It's
says called the
beautiful.
arbor poncho. Also did a shawl and a blanket variation. Cool. Because I'm only working on my third shawl ever.
Wow.
The first one I did was for my mom last year. Because when I started crocheting, I always did baby blankets, and that was like my thing. And then once I was home all the time and starting to crochet because I was in pain and stuff, I was like, I'm going to learn new things. So I started doing baby cozies instead of, or like the bags that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cozy. Instead of a blanket, and different things. So everybody's not used to that, when it comes to baby showers now. They're like, that's not what you usually make. I'm like, well, I'm learning new stuff now. So I did
Trying to branch out here.
yeah, I did a shawl for my mom for Mother's Day. And then I did, speaking of dyers, I did a sample for Macy from Macy Skeins.
Mm-hmm.
Because she did she was in a big yarn fair last year. So I did one of her samples for it. And I felt so thrilled because mine was the one down on the floor on the mannequin. Everybody else's was up on the wall. And one of my friends was actually in Dallas, Fort Worth, and she went. And she was like, I got to touch your shawl you made.
Very nice.
I was like, that is so cool. Craig says shawls are like potato chips. I wasn't into shawls until I started the channel. Cool. And Kathy's laughing. So
he has made some really,
yes,
out of this world shawls.
yeah. Kathy and I are actually working on one together right now. And every time I have a question about something, she's like, you have to go watch Fiber Spider and watch the one on this. And then you have to go watch Fiber Spider and watch the one on this. She's like, he teaches better than anybody else. So you just need to go and watch him. And I'm like, okay, I will. I used to, before I had my channel, I used to watch Craig all the time. But once, you start having your own channel, it's harder to watch everybody because you're so busy doing your own stuff.
And, that's something that I didn't realize that when you have your own channel, how much time you do not have to go visit other channels that you enjoy.
Right.
It's just, and I never understood that until I got my channel. And it's just like, how can these people not have time? And then it's like, now I understand.
Yeah, because you always hear them say, oh, I don't have time. I don't have time. Well, yeah, I get that now.
Yep.
I get that.
100%. You totally get it.
Uh-huh. He says, oh, Shaw, I'm just little old me. I really love that about you, Craig, because I think that's one reason why I like to watch you all the time is because you are very modest. And there are so many others out there who aren't. And so I've stopped watching them. I like to watch people who remind me of myself, who I'm just me. I just say what I say. I just do what I do. And, and that's it.
Yeah.
Connie is here. Just another stitch. Hi, AJ and Russell. How are you doing today? And she says, hello, everyone. How are y'all doing? I said I was tech editing earlier. I was tech editing a pattern actually for Connie. So her and I have been chatting all day today. So she says, ego is, wow. Craig says ego is an instant buzzkill. I'm getting everything all mixed up now. So it was fun because I haven't tech edited anything for probably a couple months. So it was really fun to get my brain going again and looking at the patterns and stuff. But
Now,
anyway,
do you design patterns as well?
not yet. I never had the desire to. I've just always, read patterns my whole entire life. Because it's kind of funny that you asked that because I was at a seminar last year and there was somebody who teaches tech editing and she said that only designers could be tech editors. And I was like, whoa, wait here, So, because she was surprised because she asked me what I design and I told her nothing when I told her I was a tech editor. I'm like, I'm not a designer. Well, then you can't be a tech editor. And I'm like, yes, I can. I went to school. I paid the money. I learned how to tech edit. And she's like, oh no, you can't be a true tech editor unless you design. I'm like, no, that's not true. I learned how to do everything. I learned how, to do all the numbers and, do all of that stuff. I know what to do. I just didn't have a desire, but now I do. I mean, I've started like changing up things on my own, and stuff. So I'm hoping to design something this year for the first time. So we'll see. Craig said hi to Connie and Kathy said hi to Connie. Connie said hi back. And Connie says, Craig, I'm fangirling here. Yes, you and me both. Connie. And Craig says, it's okay, AJ. Words are hard. Yes, they are. And he said, that sounds elitist of them. Yes, truly. I was just like flabbergasted. I was like, whoa, wait until you talk to the lady I learned how to tech edit from. When I told her, she couldn't believe it because she knew who this person was. And she was just like, I just can't believe she said that. I just can't believe it. So I'm like, I've been reading patterns. I'm 54 years old, for over 40 some years. I think I know how a pattern works. And as far as the easy editing part, the repeats and, all of that stuff, I've been reading it for that long. Now, the numbers, that took some time. Learning how to grade a pattern, that took some time. But it was well worth it. Very well worth it. So anyway, we are here to ask Russell questions. So I know you already told me when we were chatting a couple minutes ago, but what made you start your channel? That's like the first thing I always ask everybody.
Oh, several different things, really. I have a real deep passion for yarn, and I'm not a yarn snob by any means.
Mhm.
So, to look in my yarn collection, you will see some of the cheapest yarns you can get your hands on to some of the more expensive, not the expensive, but some of the higher ends. And I have, if I could show my yarn collection, it would fill a yarn shop.
Wow.
And I have totes upon totes. So I have all of this material.
I have to tell you what Craig is saying before it goes off. He said badgering, LOL.
Well, I'm not done explaining yet.
Yeah, Daphne's Creative Touch is here. She says, hello, everyone. Craig says, I bullied him, ha, ha, ha. Cindy the Crocheter, I've seen you before, Cindy, says, hi, all. Just shared you out and listening as I crochet. Thank you so much, Cindy. Connie says, hi, Daphne. Hi, Cindy. And Craig is saying hi. It was going so fast, I didn't want to miss it.
No,
So.
No, you're fine. So, I have all this resource, and I would go like I was telling you prior. It's like, I'd visit all these channels, interact with them, send them little gifts and stuff like that. And then Craig, me and Craig's been best friends for 6 years.
Wow.
So, and he had his channel too. And So he would be like, well, why don't you start your own channel? He's like, you have all this knowledge, you have all this wonderful yarn. He's like, you could just have a channel just showing your yarn. He's like, put a video out, once a week and just showcase the yarn that you have. And the yarn that I have is, I would say probably 95% of it is you can't get anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like taking people like you and Craig and people that's been doing this for 30 years. I'm walking them back in time because I'm going in the attic and pulling out all this yarn. You have Penalty Ann's creations and and Jack's creations. And they're like, we just love seeing your yarn because we've not seen that in so long. They don't make it no more.
Uh-huh. Cindy says, I know Russell, so ask me the truth. Connie says, Craig helped inspire the scarf pattern I'm designing right now. One of the stitches I'm using was one I found on Craig's channel. Awesome. And then Cindy says, the truth, I will say, JK. Just kidding. Daphne says, Russell, I just subscribed to your channel.
Oh, thank you very much.
And then everybody's saying hi to Nana's Crochet Ideas. I forgot. She said hi. Sorry, Terry. I missed your hello. That is Terry. So, and I think I get, Craig says, aw, thank you, Just. So, all caught up now.
So that's kind of how, I got my channel going. And it's something I'm passionate about. And I'm sitting here, if you think about it, you're sitting here crocheting or knitting, doing your thing. So if you can learn how to talk while you do it, you have a channel.
Right.
And it's something you're passionate about.
Right. Well, see, like I was telling you, I started mine because being sick, basically having a terminal illness and then a chronic illness, and I can't drive. I'm stuck at home all the time. My husband was working 2 jobs, since I literally have had my terminal illness since right out of high school. So I could only, once I was in my mid-20s, I could only work part-time. And then when I started massaging, I could do my own hours,
Yep.
We had our daughter, so that was perfect. So, when I couldn't do it anymore, which I pushed myself up till the end when I literally couldn't stand, I learned how to massage sitting down and to still give a good massage. I told my clients, if it wasn't good, let me know, because then I'd either redo it when I could do it better on a different day, or I knew it was time for me to stop because it had to be a decent massage.
Right.
I still get calls 8 years later. People, are you doing any better? Are you going to start massaging yet? Because I still say I'm working towards the day that I can work on friends and family in the house. I'll never pay for another license and all that because they keep pushing it up higher and higher every year. But that's a whole other story. So anyway, I'm sitting here home alone, getting bored, getting depressed, and I was like, I might as well just start a channel. And then the first thing I did was I started a group on Facebook, and I was like, let's have a crochet circle. So I have a virtual chat, I'll turn on the group, and that's how I met Terry. And that's, how I met Kathy. And I've met some of my friends as we get together. And even if nobody new comes in, which every once in a while we get, somebody new who will come in, because I'm always talking about it on my channel. It's like we all get together and we crochet together. A couple people knit. So, if they want to. And I don't know, we have like a core 7 of us, and then we have like 3 or 4 people who come in when they have a chance.
Very nice.
So
Very nice.
I met Spring, the fiber enthusiast, that way before I even had a chance to, watch her channel. So I was like, cool.
She's awesome.
Yes, she is. We're actually making her Turbulent Skies shawl right now. So, although she says it's more of a shawlette than a shawl.
But sure,
Um,
you could play around with the numbers and make it bigger.
yeah, I'm going to be adding on a couple of the rows. I'm going to repeat a section that she did.
And with you being a tech editor, it should be fairly easy for you to spot what to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's some parts. I mean, she made it so that when you get to the end, you really can't do much more with it. So I'm going to redo a certain part that she did in the middle. I'm going to do it twice. So Craig says our community is close knit. LOL. Oh,
Well,
always the jokester.
well, there's some channels I can't watch.
Yeah. You don't no name and names or anything.
No,
So
no,
I mean, there's
never,
some that I can't watch too.
never names.
Yes.
I just, and there was some that I was watching and following. I had to stop. I just, and I've always told myself I'm not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, I I don't know how they have a conscience left.
I know a channel like that. Anyway.
We're probably thinking the same. Oh,
Anyway. Well, I think I told you a story about somebody else who lives around the same area. But anyway. Um Queen Mama's Hillbilly House with Anita is hi Anita. I should have just said Anita. Hi y'all. How are you? Doing fine. How are you, Anita? I miss some of you guys. Some people I know I do a live with Crystal the Yarny Chicken. It's supposed to be every third Friday now, but since I've been sick since the beginning of the year, I just told her I said wait till I'll come back in June. So, and I wasn't missing tonight's. I told my body I said you need to feel better cuz I was in bed all day with a migraine yesterday and I'm like I am not missing tomorrow. It is not happening. And I woke up today feeling better. So,
we could have postponed it.
yeah, I know. I didn't want to. I live for my lives, honestly. I mean, I only do like 2 to 3 a month because I know I don't overschedule myself. I've always been a person who doesn't have a quote schedule. So like I told you when we were scheduling the live, it doesn't matter to me what day. I don't do them on a certain day like other people do because I never know. Because if I am sick one day, I can't do something. But I've started doing like on Mondays, I'm doing my massage, my self massage and self awareness or wellness little thing. And then on Fridays, I do, and actually, Kathy won, I renamed it. She won the naming. It's Furtastic Feline Fiesta Friday.
Wow.
And I make cat toys because I don't know if you've heard of Meow Mission around here, but I make cat toys to donate to Meow Mission. They do catch and release of feral cats. And my husband and I host a community. So,
Yeah, I've not heard of that.
yeah. So some of my subscribers will send in cat toys and stuff too. So every Friday I show my cat toys that I'm making. And right now that's what I'm doing for the 100-day project. And plus, this month, I'm doing St. Jude's. It's supposed to be the knit-a-thon, but I wrote them and I'm like, hey, what about crocheters? And now I see that they have a crochet one for next month. I was like, okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm not the only one who asked them, though. So Anita says, I'm good, thanks. Connie says her headache is finally doing a lot better. That is good. She's been having one all day. Oh, I'm going back up because I missed some. Cindy says, thank you for not mentioning me. Russell is one of them.
Cindy is one of my moderators, so
Okay. I have a couple, but actually I think Terry is one of mine. They don't always come in. Actually I don't have enough people usually that I need a moderator, honestly.
I only have about 60 people at the high point.
Uh-huh. The highest I've had at my high point, I think, was 30. So Anita says, I've made 2 of the Lost Souls shawls following your tutorials. I love it. I just put a hood on one of them. I need to make one of those for my daughter. Actually, she would love that. My daughter has Halloween in her house all year round. She loves all the skulls, any of that kind of stuff. Anita says, that's good, Connie. Craig says, I haven't done a live on my channel in too long. Gets stressful, so I lurk in other live streams. And then Anita says, it's nice to put a face to the tutorials. Yeah, I like doing them because I like asking questions and getting to know people better. So my next question is, do you have a schedule on your channel? Do you do certain things, certain days? How do you run your channel, basically?
I run my channel by the seat of my pants. Because that's one thing. And I was kind of drifting away from it, and a couple of my subscribers had called me out on it, and I am thankful and grateful that they did. And by having a schedule that is set, it's set. So I don't usually typically tell people, okay, on this day I'm going live. I might do a couple of days ahead of time, because anything and everything can happen.
Right.
So none of my videos are script. They're not wrote down. I don't edit. What it is what it is, because my thing is, the people who's watching me, they know about life.
Right.
They don't need somebody to tell them. It's like, oh, somebody's ringing the doorbell.
Because they know the doorbell's being rung.
It's life. Things happen. And my thing is, if people wanted to watch something that's perfect, they would turn on the TV or they would watch a movie where
exactly.
It's perfectly done. So
it is so funny. You and I sound a lot alike, actually. Sweet Pea Sid's Inspiration says, hi, AJ, Russell, and everyone in chat. I'll be here lurking for a little. Well, welcome in and happy lurking. Craig says, thank you, Anita. Connie's saying hi to Sid. And she just said hi back to Connie. Yeah, it surprises me. I mean, I know a lot of people do a schedule because they need to, and that's how they are. They are people who are schedule type people. But then when I see people who have like a big channel or whatever who say you have to have a schedule, I'm like, no, you don't.
Nope.
You don't. I mean, lots of times you will see my Furtastic Friday, Feline Friday, I'll put, Furtastic Feline Saturday, because I didn't quite make it on Friday. So you're seeing me on Saturday. Yep. I'm hoping to get all of my Mondays in. This Monday I'm having a procedure. So I told them I may not be here Monday. If I can tape it, I will get it taped and they will have a massage. To myself, I call it Massage Monday, even though that's not what it's called. I'm like, you may have it on Monday. You may get it later in the week. If not, it'll just not be this next week and it'll be the next Monday. But they know to expect that from me because I never know what I'm doing. And every 3 months I have this procedure, come rain or shine, it's always going to happen. And I'm always going to have a week where I'm down.
Yep.
So I will be on Wednesday because I also have a live with 2 other people that we do every other week, and it's happens to be this Wednesday. And right now one, she's out and Terry's stepping in for her nicely for us. And the other one, her phone hasn't been working right. So it's on my channel every other Wednesday right now until she gets, her laptop or her phone fixed or her Wi-Fi, whatever it is that keeps knocking her off, and until our other person comes back. So I know that I have to do that and I'll just, I'm like, I'll at least be there. It depends, I'll make sure that I'm there to turn it on and turn it off. But this coming Wednesday, I'm going to have a hard time, but I'll be there. So, and we all know that with the three of us, because all three of us have something. So we all know that we will at least be there, and we will do the best that we can do while we're there.
And that's all we can do.
Right. Anita says, I love that. Life's too short with me. It's there when it's there, and I am what I am. Right, Connie? Yep. And Craig says, you don't have to have a set schedule, but you do need some discipline and motivation to keep the momentum going. Yes, that you do need. Because I've seen some channels die because they start and then they just stop. So,
And then
it's
six months later, you see
right.
they're gone again, and then they do like six videos, and then they're like gone again. It's like, okay,
Right. I at least try to be consistent. I mean, even if I have a week off, then I come back. Sometimes I'll have a week where I'm on every day, because I'm feeling good and I have things to show and I have things to talk about. But then when I'm down, I'm down.
And I talking with some of my subscribers in the comment section, it come to the point where on my days off, that's where I'll do all of my taping for the following week. So if I can only get 1 or 2 videos done, that's all you're going to get that following week, unless you have the time to put in another video, because they want to see the happy Russ, the energetic Russ. They don't want the strung out Russ from stress and work and tired and
right.
So I had to make a decision. It's like, okay, so to give them happy Russ, this is what I have to do. And I let everybody know that. And that's the other thing. I don't hide anything.
Exactly. You have to be who you are, and you have to be truthful about who you are. You don't, hide what you're doing or try to be somebody that you're not.
And if I make a mistake in saying something and someone corrects me in the comments, I love that, because I'm not perfect. And I will acknowledge that. It's like, yep, you are totally right 100%. And, I'm human. I make errors.
Right.
I'm not going to try and say I'm perfect like other people do, but
we are all human. So Connie says it's hard to keep a schedule sometimes. That's why I no longer call my videos Crochet Tuesday and Knitting Friday. I try to do my video on Wednesdays now. Yep. And she says, I had to make some cutbacks to my channel because it was hard to keep up with things. Yeah, it can be really hard. And I told that to my friend when she was starting her channel. She's like, I don't have everything I need. I don't know what I'm going to talk about every day. What do I do? Motivational Monday, this. And I'm like, do what you do. Just do what you do. And that's it. And I told her, I said, quit waiting to have the right equipment and the right this and the right that. I'm like, just get on and start.
All I have is my phone and my tablet. Oh, I did happen to buy a ring light, because that does help. But other than that, that's all I have. I don't have any special microphones. I don't have lighting from the ceiling, and I don't have backdrops and props and.
Yeah, I do mine from my living room, so I can't really change much of the lighting around in here. I'm hoping to change around and have an actual craft room at some point in time, and then hopefully I'll start doing most of my taping from there, and then I can get a ring light, and different things. I have a teeny tiny ring light, but all that does is make a O on my face. And it makes the lighting very well. I can see the one in your glasses, but the little one, I mean, because I know there's big ones and then there's little ones. The little one just makes me look weird. So I was like, yeah, I stopped using that one.
If I turn my ring light off, it's a little darker, but you can still see.
So do you use a small one or do you use a big one?
I have a 10-inch.
Okay. Yeah, mine's just one of those little, like 3-inch, little tiny ones. Craig says, Russ isn't human. He's a teddy bear mush with a penchant for hoarding yarn.
I don't hoard yarn.
What's hoarding yarn? Anita says, I think there's probably a few yarn hoarders here. And Craig says, I know I am. Yeah, every time. Oh my goodness. My husband has told me that I had too much yarn before I even had like hardly any yarn. I mean, I had like a box full and he said that was too much. And then when I started getting more, because I started doing more things than baby blankets and things, he was just like, oh my goodness, no, you just got to use what you have. So then my friend took that as her own incentive to send me boxes full of yarn because I was like, I can't afford it. I mean, he lost a job last year. He's down to one. He was working 2 full-time jobs. Now he's down to one, and because when I had to stop, that was hard, anyway. I can't buy a lot of yarn and I can't buy what I would like to. That's why I do like samples, crochet and stuff, so I can get, hand-dyed yarn that way. I got quite a bit of Macy's hand-dyed yarn by making that shawl for her. So, I mean, besides I get to work, do something for Macy. I mean, I love her yarn. So I got to work with yarn that I wouldn't have bought, when she sent me the colors that she did. So, but I do have quite a bit now. So that's why this year I'm like, I'm only buying for projects that I don't have what I need. That and
I could say that too, and if I looked hard enough, I wouldn't have to buy yarn for at least 2 years.
Exactly. Or I'll start some. Well, don't you have something you could use for that? Not the right color.
And that's usually the problem. It's like, I don't got the color.
Kathy says she's guilty of hoarding. Sid says yarn hoarders. No. Connie says my yarn I have every intention of using. Yeah, I have every intention of using mine too. Anita says, I think we light up like a Christmas tree when we spot a skein of yarn. Yes, I agree. Anita says, me too, Connie. If I live to be 200, exactly. I don't know if I have more yarn than I could use in a lifetime, but I'm starting to get there. Connie says, the problem isn't too much yarn. Too much yarn's not crocheting and knitting fast enough. Anita says, exactly. Connie says, oops, I meant yarn, not yarns. Okay. And Sid says, exactly, Connie, these hands can only go so fast. Yeah. Yeah, if I don't end up going through like all the yarn that I have, like per se right now, it's just because I'm not crocheting fast enough.
I think of myself as a yarn rescuer because when it goes on clearance and the stores are trying to get rid of it, if they don't get rid of it, it's going to go in the dumpster.
Somebody's got to buy it.
I just look at myself as a yarn rescuer. I rescue yarn.
I would love to find a dumpster full of yarn.
Oh.
I missed.
To find a dumpster full of yarn, it would be like winning the lottery.
It would be sad yet so exciting all at the same time. I was so sad that I missed Hobby Lobby's clearance. But I did get a couple little things that they still had on the shelf the other day.
I stayed away. Michael's also was having a clearance sale. I stayed away. I stayed away from everybody that was having a clearance.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I bought the other day was I ordered some more mini hanks from Aberdeen Wool because they had a St. Patrick's Day sale of 17% off.
Wow.
So one of my subscribers, she actually got 40 mini hanks, which are $31. And then with the tax and the shipping, she only paid 90 cents. She paid $31.90 for
wow
plus shipping and tax.
And that's a good price for mini hanks anyway.
Yeah, it's hand dyed and it's superwash merino wool, 20%
Because
nylon.
I've been wanting to get more because I want to make a scrappy project like you're doing. And I actually have the best project that I want to make right now. That I don't, if you've ever watched Hannah from the Cozy Cottage,
I don't think so.
she just designed, she called the memory blanket. She said there was a knitter's memory blanket. So she made a crochet version. I'm like, yep. She's only selling it for $1, the pattern.
Oh wow.
And I grabbed it up. I actually gave it away on uh, Random Act of Kindness Day to quite a few people, and I have a giveaway. Ooh, I was supposed to draw for that yesterday. Well, so I still have a giveaway going on, a hidden one that I was supposed to actually draw for a couple weeks ago, but then I was too sick and I kept on putting it off. But I really meant to do it yesterday, but I wasn't. Like I said, I had a migraine all day, so it's put off for another week now. So, yep, I'm going to give that, I'm like, it's just too perfect not to give it away. And I put it up on Random Act of Kindness days when I put the giveaway up. So, as a surprise. And I don't call mine giveaways. Mine are subscriber appreciation. So,
Nope. I never
Craig,
ever announce a giveaway.
Craig says, I'm dual addicted between yarn and fabric right now, between sewing. Been sewing so much lately. When we get my room together, I've had a sewing machine forever and I have never had a place to use it at. And now it's like buried under boxes. So that's one of the first things I want to do and see if I can make my own project bag. So, Connie says, me too. Anita says, do I need to start dumpster diving at Hobby Lobby?
Michael's, Hobby Lobby, Joann's.
Connie says, yes, Anita. And Craig says, you stayed away because you couldn't unlock the handcuffs, Russ. I know those handcuffs pretty well.
If there's yarn involved, Russ will get out.
Anita says, I actually have not bought any for a while. I'm trying to use some up and I just won a special giveaway from Pinky Hooks. I plan to do something special with that though. And Connie says, the last yarn I bought was from Vilrita. I've looked at Vilrita. I've never bought anything from them.
They really got some nice yarn.
Yeah, they do. Connie says, Russell, do you and Craig know each other in person?
We've not met in person, but we video chat, we chat on the phone, we text,
He says, Craig says he's hand sewing a quilt right now using 1.5-inch hexagons in the English paper piecing style. Wow, that's going to be gorgeous. Cindy, the crocheter, says, I can type. My arms are free from Autumn the cat. I have my jaw on the floor, Russell. Never bought the sales. Faint. Connie says, yes, and they are cheap, talking about Vilrita. And Anita says, ooh, Russell, sounds beautiful. I think she meant that for Craig. Maybe not. I may have missed something you just said. I didn't shop. I mean, if I would have known, I wouldn't have shopped Hobby Lobby either. I just kind of wanted to be there for the beginning to get some cotton. Since I'm making all of these toys, these cat toys to give, to donate, I'm running out of my cotton. So I keep telling my subscribers, if you have any, even like just little balls that you want to donate, I'll take them.
What weight?
Anyway, I'm using cotton just because it will stand up more when the cats play with them.
Well, I got some. I'll have to look in my stash because I might have some cotton, and I know I've got cotton, but there's a certain cotton I'm not a fan of.
Right. Like kitchen cotton.
If you're just going to make cat toys with it, it's not going to matter.
I'm using kitchen cotton. That's what I'm using for the toys. I'm not using my good cotton, but I'm only using my scraps too because I make, like, I have a second cousin who's getting ready to get married. So for gifts and stuff, since we can't afford a lot, I usually, I'll make like kitchen towels or, and stuff. So I don't
And
want
those
to
are so
start
nice.
using my good stuff like my dishy from We Crochet, and stuff like that. I'm like, no. So I won't start something that hasn't been started. I'm only using scraps.
The
Uh,
scrubby, the scrubby yarn
I've
used
never used, I have some, but I've never used it.
well, it used to be fairly cheap, and Red Heart was clearancing out all of their scrubby yarn.
Hmm.
And then, so I figured, okay, well, Red Heart's getting away from the scrubby yarn. Well, then they come back out with a different kind of scrubby yarn, and now it's like $6 a ball.
Right. Right.
When it used to be like $3, now it's like double the price.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Anita said yes, she meant Craig. Craig says sugar and cream, the bone of my existence. You know, it's what I'm making this cat toy out of. I've used sugar and cream for so long. I guess my hands are just used to it.
Well, it's just to me, it's so thick, and
Hmm.
when I to do a dish rag or something like that, um, it's so thick and heavy. It almost like a pot holder.
I made for my mom, I did the whole bathroom for Mother's Day 2 years ago. I made her the washcloth, the soap sack, and all of that, the whole thing. And most of it was Tunisian crochet. Now, I was using Hirschner's for most of it, but I did use some sugar and cream. And there was such a difference when I did it using Tunisian. It was much softer than just by regular crochet. I don't know if because the stitches are, spread out more, like when you're knitting or whatnot. I mean, it just had a better, my brain doesn't want to work right now. I'm going to say lay to it, but that's not what I meant. Drape. It had a better drape and everything to it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of sugar and cream.
Yeah. Well, I get what I have to. I mean,
No,
my favorite is I love cotton. I mean, if I that's my favorite.
I would prefer to have Premier Cotton, um,
I
or
have some of that, and I have Premier, and then my other is Big Twist because theirs is like Premier. And then I just learned that Loops and Threads, which is only $1.99, is also really nice. So yeah, I
loops,
when I can, I get all of those.
loops and threads is Michael's house brand.
Right. Right.
Uh,
Theirs is just $1.99, and they have some of the same colors as Sugar and Cream and some of the same colors as Premier and Joann's, their house brand.
I also like the cotton from Hobie.
I haven't used it yet, but I think I got some from a friend when she was selling off her yarn. I know I got the Mayflower cotton. Actually, I think they have that. They have some of that at Hobie, and they have some at. I saw it the other day at Hobby Lobby, but I haven't had any of the Friends cotton yet. And I
Uh,
hadn't had any 24/7 cotton from Lion Brand until I had some from her box. So
Last
let me.
year, Deer Moors, before they were bought out, they had a sale on their Deer Moors cotton, and it was $1 scheme.
I don't think I've heard of that one. Jennifer Coleman is here. She says, I'm making a square granny square like Russ. I just bought a second pack of minis. I don't shop the stores. I shop online. I watch for sales with them. Yeah, I shop online all the time too, since I can't drive and get out of the house. But my husband took me because I asked him nicely. I was like, please, we were out. And I make stitch markers and I sell them too. But I make them to look more like jewelry with long and nice with beads and stuff. And so I was really upset I missed the jewelry clearance that they had more than I was the yarn clearance. So we went to see if there was anything left. And then I needed some beads to make my Easter stitch markers. So I got some Eastery colored pretty pastels and bright. Like I told Kathy, I don't know how to explain them except for they're bright pastels. So um, Craig says, Anita, it's all scrappy, no plan of pattern or color. And let me see, Connie says hi to Jennifer. And Craig said bane, not bone of his existence. Um, Jennifer says my granny was a square, and then it's now a rectangle. It's slowly catching up with Russ's. Cindy the crocheter says, hi, Jennifer. Anita says, y'all have a great night. Gotta finish cooking. Craig, patchwork of sorts sounds even more beautiful. Have a great night, Anita. Have a good dinner, too. And Jennifer is saying, hi to everybody. Hobie cotton is great to work with. I want to get some. I can't wait. I'm waiting to find somebody I can order with because I can't order enough to get the free shipping. But the $9.99 is not bad either if you order enough. So, and Connie said bye to Anita. All caught up again.
Jennifer follows me religiously. So, hi, Jennifer. Thank you for stopping in.
I wanted to say real quick because somebody asked if you guys have met for real. If Craig ever comes to visit you, you need to let me know. I live close enough. I will find a way to come and say hi.
You're only like 40 minutes away. If
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, I'm only like 15 minutes away from where my parents live, and they live in Niles too. So,
Well, I'm on the outside of Niles, going
right.
to Wajak, out in the country. So it'd be about 30 to 40 minute drive. No more than 40 minutes.
Yeah. The street that I told you that my friend lived on, my uncle actually lived on there too. He just passed away a little bit ago,
Oh,
but
sorry
he
about.
had lived out there too. And I didn't know that she lived on White Road out there. I thought it was Redbud. That was my cousin who lived on Redbud. So, anyway, Connie says, Craig, you want to come for some gumbo? Craig says, I travel as good as a loose plate of lizard tarts.
Yeah.
Or Linzer tarts. There we go. I was reading it wrong.
One of these days, me and Craig will actually meet. I will take vacation and go to. I will go to New York to see him,
Awesome.
and he can pick me up at the airport. He can be my Uber.
That sounds good. That's one thing I've never tried from around here is an Uber. It's kind of scary for me to think of.
Around here, yes, I would not Uber.
Although I have a friend who was doing Uber for a while when he was between jobs. That's what he was doing. So I was like, if I can know for sure I'll get you every time, I'll Uber. I'm like, but otherwise, no. It's really scary to think of who you might end up with.
And just like you've got Uber Eats and what is the other one?
I don't know.
Dine and Dash, or
Dine and Dash. Yeah.
and then there's another one too. A lady at work uses it all the time. It's like, okay, you're having people that you don't know, that's not affiliated with the company, going and picking up your food. You don't know what they're doing to it.
Yeah. I have a friend who does Shipped, where they go and get your groceries. And she has people who do repeat business with her because she does a really, really good job. And they'll specifically, I think they can ask for people, but it all depends on when you're available to work. So, but no, I can do that. I can't have somebody picking out my food. I'm sorry. No.
I mean, if it was canned goods or prepackaged stuff, that wouldn't be so bad. But when you're talking fruits and vegetables and,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep. Get my own. Thank you.
especially if it's the cold stuff, are they keeping it cold? Are
Mhm.
they getting it and letting it sit in the car for an hour or two before they deliver it?
Yep. Jennifer says, I have ordered the grab/mystery bags from Hobie. That's how I got the cotton from them. I really want to get one of their cotton grab bags, but I haven't been able to. And when they had their Christmas, I was so excited when they said it was mostly cotton. But then when I saw somebody open one, I was like, yeah, no, maybe not. So, Craig says he thinks I'm taking him to Bloomingdale's. And he says delusional, lol.
I've got a Bloomingdale's credit card, Craig. You're driving. It's downtown New York. You'll get over it. He would have a panic attack before we even got the Bloomingdale's. I'm telling you.
Cindy says we have skipped the dishes in Canada. Then she says, wait, my bad. I did do save on foods delivery, but it helped me. So I did, and they were close to my old apartment, and they are fast. Well, I know with Shipt, you only have so much time from when they give you the order to when you have to have it to them. And I know sometimes she's like really upset because she's like, I had this big order. I was supposed to get it done, within the time, but I was like a minute or two late. And then they deduct that from them somehow. But Jennifer says, I use Instacart to get my groceries. It saves me a lot. I have had good luck with them getting my fruits and veggies. They keep stuff cold. I have even bought ice cream. Cool. She says, mine is fast once they check out. Yeah. Now, I think if they gave them like a time from checkout to when they get there, but for somebody to give like a huge order and then they have to have everything done within, like a half an hour at the most, sometimes that's not doable when you're given like a really huge, especially when the stores redo their shelves every so often,
Well, the town that you live in, all the stoplights and all the traffic and everything else. So to get from one side of town to the other, it can take you 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be rough.
Unless you do the bypass, and this is people from the 3 towns around here, and plus I think they even she could go up into Michigan for some too. We are Michiana after all. We can't be Michigan and Indiana. We're Michiana. Craig says, I haven't been out of a 10-mile radius in years. The idea of driving in the city. And then he made faces.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like that one.
I would have, if I did go see Craig, there would be a certain airport that I would have to go to, because if I went to one that's actually in New York, he would probably have a heart attack trying to get to the airport to pick me up, because he does not like all that traffic.
I get that. I totally get it. Let me read Cindy's real quick. But now all that is gone and it's just me. LOL. I do grocery pickup now, but family helps take food in. I'm part of a study in Chicago, and I've been doing this for over 30 years. And when I decided to do it, I looked at my husband and I said, okay, I want to do this study. It's so, they can make things better for other people later on. And plus I'll get full health, a full checkup, everything. And we don't have to pay for it. They'll pay us. And he was like, okay. I said, but you have to be on board. I said, because I do not drive Chicago. I will not, I do not, I cannot drive Chicago. Well, he grew up closer to Chicago in Portage. And so he grew up driving like people in Chicago, which kills me so much sometimes, because it always seems like he's right up on everybody's bumper. And I'm like, just go back a little, just a little, please. I'm so glad he's not here tonight, because he would be chiming in from his chair. And I'm just like, no, I will not. I have never, ever, 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 ever driven in Chicago. Now, Indianapolis, I went to school down in Indy. I went to Butler. And it took me forever, but I had to learn how to drive 465. For those of you who aren't in Indiana and haven't been to Indianapolis, 465 is the big freeway system that goes all the way around Indianapolis. And the funny thing is the fastest you're supposed to drive is 55, but everybody goes at least 65 to 75,
if not 80.
if not 80. So here I am up there on this freeway system taking my I was in a professional fraternity, so taking my frat brothers and sisters to somewhere that we were going to eat, and I'm just like this and my knuckles are just red, and I'm like, I can do it now, but that's like nothing compared to Chicago, nothing. But I'll remember on our honeymoon we went around the Great Lakes. We went over to Niagara Falls, and my husband is like, okay, he doesn't like me driving, but he was like, okay, I need to get some sleep. So he's like, you can drive for a little bit. We're on this country road. You're going to do fine. We were on this road. It was a 2-lane highway. We were fine. There was nothing. I turned a corner. Bam. We were in the middle of a freeway, Buffalo, New York.
Oh.
And I made some kind of sound because he woke up instantly, sat up, and I'm just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And he's laughing. He's trying not to die. And he's just like, you're going to be fine. And let's just, we'll get off on the next exit, whatever we can find. And it ended up being, we were close to the Niagara Falls exit that I ended up driving until we got off where we needed to. But I've never been on a road before where it's like driving along. We're in this little country road and then bam, it's freeway. I was just like, how'd I miss that? What in the world? How did that happen? So, yeah. Connie's like, AJ, have you ever been to Great Mistakes, Illinois? No, I have not. Queen's Craft by Bridget is here. She says hello, everyone, and Connie says hi to Bridget. Oh, your baby.
Hi, Precious.
We have 3 babies here.
Say hi, Precious.
Mine's asleep next to me. She's my co-host, as everybody calls her.
All right. You can get down. You can get down.
Connie says, I'm in love. I'm actually surprised that Charcoal hasn't come up and gotten behind my head because it's a time of night where he's always looking outside. Jennifer says, my mom drove in Chicago when we lived in Woodstock, Illinois. The last place she took us to was Shed's Aquarium in 1989. They drive crazy in the major cities. I don't drive. I just watch the traffic. Yep. And I have to be careful. I used to be one of those drivers in the side seat going all the time. And my husband's like, I'm going to put you in the trunk. You need to stop it. So I had to learn how to keep my mouth shut and not do it anymore. And I have to say, I've gotten really good at not sounding like I'm as upset as I am. I've learned to sleep through Chicago or put my head down and crochet. That's how I get through Chicago traffic. Crochet helps with so many things. So many things.
That it does. I crochet and I knit. And it helps. It does help.
Yeah, I'm hoping to learn to knit this year. It's on my agenda. Jennifer says, hi, Precious. Precious, say hi to Junior and Sweet Pea.
Yeah, one of them's out eating. The other one's sleeping.
So you got 3 too? Or 3 as well?
Well, we've got 3 in the house. Plus 3 kittens.
Yeah.
Which eventually, when it gets warmer, they'll go outside. And then outside, we probably got 10 in the garage. So, there's 3 of them that's pregnant. But Precious learned that as she comes in the house, she gets to eat. And then in the mornings, when Kevin goes outside, he gives the kids breakfast. So she will go outside with him to get her breakfast, and then she will come back in the house when I come home from work,
To
and
get breakfast.
she will get a second breakfast. And then at night,
Smart cat.
Kevin gives the outside cats, their dinner. So she'll have dinner outside, then she'll come in and have dinner inside.
Yeah. We had Kalua, who, well, she's right down here.
Aw.
She's been sleeping. She just woke up. She's who everybody calls my co-host. Before that, Queens by Bridget says, I handle my hubby driving with knitting. Just watch the stitches, not the traffic. Yep. And we had Halford. Unfortunately, Halford died on December 16th, and it was very sad. He was my husband's cat. He never wanted his own cat. Came home one day and said, I found the cat for me. They showed him on the news that day, and he had FIV. And I was like, okay, so you want a special kitty like you have a special wife. Anyway, we went and got him. Nobody else wanted him. He had been there for 6 months. And I thought once he was shown on TV, everybody would want him. Nobody wanted him. And he was like a human. I mean, he was the best cat ever. And he was doing fine. And then that day, actually, he came up. He said hi to Bob when we came home because we had been out doing some stuff that day, Christmas shopping. And he was fine. And he was playing with Kalua, and he went in the back room and he laid down under the table and he just passed away.
Oh, wow.
He had been trying to get out, so we kind of think that, he knew. But I mean, it was just wow. I mean, I'll never forget the sound my husband made when he found him, because I mean, it was so unexpected. And then we ended up with Charcoal and Little Bit because somebody across the street just left them when they moved. They just showed up here both together one day. We started feeding them, and that's when we learned about Meow Mission. Meow Mission came and took care of them. Actually, after Little Bit had a litter, she had gotten pregnant, and it was so sweet. She had them right underneath our bedroom window. We couldn't find them, and I have irises that grow up. We couldn't find her. She was underneath the iris leaves all down there. Nice little area for her and the babies. And then all of a sudden it was raining. We'd gotten a box up on the porch for him, but they were starting to outgrow it, and she decided she needed to move them. And she took them over to a neighbor's down the street because he had a deck, and he put them under the deck, and somebody got rid of them.
Aw.
I won't go into detail. Somebody got rid of them, and he swears it wasn't him, but she was here next to me when he came up, and she tried to leap at him and like tear him apart. So I'm like, yeah, you can tell me all you want to, but the cat's telling me all I need to know.
The cats know.
Yes. So Jennifer says, it helps me with my medical issues and trying to get a double lung transplant when I can. I love crocheting. I can knit. Yes, Jennifer, I completely understand you. On my most painful days, I pick up my crochet, and it makes me forget that I'm in as much pain as I'm in. I've got chronic pancreatitis. So yeah, it helps me a lot. Jennifer says, my 2 cats love it when Autumn comes on camera with Cindy. They also love Russ's cats. Yeah. Little Bit looks almost exactly like Kalua, except for Kalua has the black mark by her nose that some black and white cats have. And Little Bit has a completely pink nose. And then she has a little bit of white on her ears. Otherwise, from behind, we can't tell the difference. They have almost the same markings. So, but we got Kalua. I got her from Pet Refuge. So we always get our cats from Humane Society, Pet Refuge, or wherever. So it feels good to take care of them. But Charcoal and Little Bit now, because Meow Mission took care of them because we couldn't afford, to take them in medical, and they were feral cats at the time. They came and they got them all taken care of. And so they have the clipped ear showing that they're feral, although they walked right into the house, both of them. They're like, yeah, we're going inside as soon as it got cold out. And now Charcoal's trying to decide if it's better inside or if he wants to go back outside. And then he's like, yeah, I like the treats and the food and all of the hugs and the loving. So I think I'll stick around inside for a little bit.
Yeah, Sweet Pea will go outside. Precious will go outside for a little while. but then they want right back in. They don't want to be outside all the time.
I have a cousin who has at least 100 feral cats on his property. He lives, I don't know how many acres he lives on, but he has great big huge rocks in the front of his house. He lives out in the country, across the street by where I used to live. I used to live what was considered country out on the west side. And he's got these big rocks, and what they do is they tunnel into and underneath the rocks because they've been there so, and it's heated in there then, and they spend all their time in the winter, and they have a tunnel system all around his property, and they can come up by where his pole barn is, and he'll feed them, and if there's any problems he takes them to the vet. But he will feed and take care of any cat that he sees around, and if he sees any problem, like I said, he takes them to the vet and makes sure they're taken care of and stuff. I'm like, he's what he does for a living is he cuts down the trees, and stuff. So he makes a lot of money. I'm like, it must be nice to have enough money to be able to take all these cats to the vet. I wish I could. I wish I could take care of my, animals all the way that they need to be. I mean, we do as much as we can.
Right.
But there was a time, the one who passed the year before, he ended up with crystals in his bladder, so we had to take him in then, and he was under IV therapy and all of that, and he made it. So we were very lucky that he made it. Jennifer says Pumpkin was outside and came to my door, and she came and I just kept her. Yep. Craig says I'm going to scoot and make some dinner. Have a great night, everyone. Stay safe and stay yarny. Thank you so much for being here, Craig. It was so nice to see you. Jennifer says your uncle is a hero for what he does. Yes, he is. Unfortunately, he's sick now. I think he has cancer. So we're hoping that somebody in his family takes over taking care of all of the cats. But I know he makes himself get up every day to do it anyway right now while he can. Kathy said good night, Craig. Jennifer says bye, Craig. He said, nice to see you too. Thank you. I will definitely have to come back and keep watching again. And I will be making one of your shawls for sure. Because like you said, they're like potato chips. Now that I've made a couple, I'm like, yep, I got to keep making them. So let me see. I know you don't have a schedule. I'm trying to think. I think I've covered almost everything. We talked about your blanket. Well, you showed your blanket. So how did your blanket get started?
Well, last year, towards the end of last year, it's like I wanted to do something for my channel, kind of like a crochet along, but not really a crochet along.
Uh-huh.
So it's like people are obsessed with temperature blankets, and they're nice, but not for me, I guess.
Yeah, I always wanted to do one, and I've just never been able to. I've just...
And the scrappy blanket idea kind of was always sticking in the back of my head. And I found these hand-dyed minis. And it's like, well, if I order a bunch of those, I could make my own scrap blanket, but it's not really a scrap blanket. But it will give the appearance of a scrap blanket.
Right.
So I ordered them, and it's like I waited. It was like December. It was December that I ordered them, and it took me forever to get them. I was getting a little upset, and so I got a hold of the company, and it's just like, hey, can you check on my order?
Uh-huh.
So she did. She was really nice, and so she messaged me back, and she says they don't know where your order's at.
Oh no.
So she says we're going to put another one together and ship it out. And it's like, okay. I said, well, if I end up with 2 sets, then I'll get a hold of you so I can pay you for the second set, because I'm not going to take anything for free. but only one set showed up. So I don't know if the other set got returned or if it's still lost, but I only received the one set.
Uh-huh.
But when I got them and started doing the project, this is like, man, these are really really nice. So I ordered 200 more, and I got them because I wanted to make sure I had enough to make
Right.
a really big blanket. Because, like, at that time, I didn't know if they were gonna, if it was just a limited time or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I ordered 200 more to make sure I had plenty. And then I had, I wanted to do a countdown box. Everybody does Advent boxes for
Mm-hmm.
Christmas. I want to do a countdown box from December 1st to January 1st. I want to cover the whole month.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to find somebody that does hand dyed yarn. And it's like, well, I'm really liking these hand dyed mini hanks from Aberdeen. So I got a hold of them and told them what I was going to do. And I had asked them, it's like, okay, can I use your yarn in my countdown box? And they're like, sure. So I placed my order for all of my mini skeins, and that's what will be in my countdown box.
Cool. I like that. I
Um,
want to one of these years when I can afford to do it, because right now it's like, except for the yarn that I have in my prize box for when I need to do a giveaway or something, all of my other yarn is like every time I look at it, it's like, okay, you're meant for this, you're meant for, or I may not know the exact project, but I know like I want to make a summer shirt or a shawl or, or whatever. I know kind of what. So it's really hard for me to go and find something because my husband's like, well, why can't you just pick that and say, okay, I'm going to give it away? I'm like, because it's meant for yada yada, you know? And that's just how I am. When I see something, I see a color or whatever, I know I want to make something with it. I just know it. And now if I bought two or, however I needed plus some, that's, another thing. And where was I going with this? I've always wanted to do like to get somebody else and exchange boxes and do like an Advent Christmas box where another person that I watch Ella, No Catchy Name, and she does this every year where they do just little scrap balls because she does a scrappy project in December. So for the first 12 or 24 days, however long they do it for, if they do the regular 12 days of Christmas or if they do the 1st through the 24th, are all scrappy balls that they put together for each other that they open on camera every day. And then that's, what ball she'll put in the blanket that she's working on. And so everybody, sees her working on it, a little bit, and I've always wanted to do that, but she does it every year with the same person because I thought, oh, it'd be cool to do one, see if she would like to, change up who she does it with. But then I'm like going, I don't have enough scraps yet to be able to do that with
See,
somebody.
and that's me. I don't have really scrap yarn, to make a scrap blanket. So I had to improvise, and this is how it was born.
Jennifer says the virus poncho is fun to make of Craig's. It's the first poncho set / shawl I have made. Yeah, the shawl I'm working on right now with my friend, she's actually in here, Kathy, is the the one from spring. I'm sorry, I forgot the name of it again here. Anyway, it's got virus pattern in it, but her own version of it. And she keeps on telling me, you've got to go make Craig's. You have to make fiber spiders because you will really enjoy that one. I mean, not that I'm not enjoying this one, but she keeps on saying, if you really want to do a good virus pattern, you need to go do that. So there's somebody else who totally agrees with you, Jennifer. Crean's Craft by Bridget. I got their pickle jar mini set, such beautiful minis. I know all of them I've been watching Russell use are so gorgeous, and I love minis. I have my own little stash that are either Mace of Skeins that I've gotten from her when she has them, or ones that I've gotten through Rebecca from Chemnitz. And then I think somebody else sent me some minis once, but I only have a few, and I know I don't have enough for a big project yet. Connie says I need to get going. Have a fabulous night, everyone. And then people are just saying goodbye to Connie. So, oh wow, it's 9:20. I didn't realize what time it was. You made me lose all track of time, Russell.
I am sorry.
It is fine as long as you're ready to. Those are gorgeous, simply gorgeous. And I love they're in a pickle jar. What I had started to say earlier, I kind of laughed when I saw that they were in a pickle jar because Macy's Gaines keeps all of her minis in a pickle jar. Wow, those yellows. Yellow is my favorite color.
These,
Those yellows are gorgeous.
this is the 200 that I had ordered. And
And they come how many per jar?
if you get, okay, there's different breakdowns.
Uh-huh.
If you order the actual pickle jar kit, you'll get the pickle jar with the label on it that says pickle jar.
Uh-huh.
You'll get the knitting needles for the project. You'll get the pattern, and you'll get the 40 hanks of yarn. The 40
Okay.
But you can buy refills of just the 40 hanks. Then if you go to another spot, they will sell just the minis all by itself. And that's how I got these, because you can get, I think it's like 20, 25, 50, 100, 200, 500, and 1,000 is how they're and when you buy the pickle jar kit, it's more expensive because you're getting the jar, the pattern, the needle,
Uh-huh.
everything you need to do to make the pattern.
Right.
I only bought the kit the first time around because I wanted the jar.
Right.
You know, I wanted the
You wanted the visual for the channel.
right. But now I just buy the either the refill packs or it's the minis.
That's good to know. I'll have to go check them out because almost everybody that I've looked at for even like 10 mini skeins, you're going to spend like $50. And I'm like, that's just outrageous. Completely outrageous. I know Macy, hers are like 30 when she puts like 5 or 6 together, but still. I mean, I know it's hand dyed and I know a lot goes into it, you know, and everything. So, but I always miss them anyway because the minis are the first to go. So, and I always get a coupon because I'm part of her Patreon. So, if you're part of that, you get a decent coupon. So,
something that they're starting this year is their Tangled
ooh,
Poets. These are full size hanks, and this is something that they're doing new this year because they've always did the minis. They have full size hanks in DK weight,
uh-huh.
but not in sock weight.
Ooh,
So this year they're doing sock weight to go with their minis.
awesome. See, I want to learn how to do socks too. And I had gotten some sock yarn a long time ago and thinking, and I'd got a pattern, thinking I'd learn. Yeah, I did not figure it out. And I still really haven't. I made a pair of socks with larger weight, you know, because it was, you know, easier to do. And it's more like slipper socks. But I really want to learn how to do the small ones. I do amigurumi. I figure I should at some point in time be able to figure out how to do them. And especially when I start learning how to knit, I figure that'll be easier. But when I realized that one skein would not give me 2 socks for my feet because I have like a size 9 foot, I was like, oops, can't use what I got. I need to get actual, you know, go and buy some more sock yarn. And that stuff wasn't cheap to begin with. And I can't get the same color because I bought those, like I said, a long, long time ago. When you talked about having old yarn, for me, I have or had, I think I just used it. Karen Simply Soft. I had Karen Simply Soft in like the old label, like the old label. You know, like I tell people, I can remember when the only thing we really had to use was Red Heart.
Yeah, that's
I
and
can remember when Karen Simply Soft came out and I was like, wow, I got something new. I got something new to try, you
and
know?
Red Heart was, like you said, I mean, it was the pioneer. I mean,
Right.
that was the yarn. Everybody had Red Heart.
And then Windtuck, because, but we didn't have Walmart, so I didn't even know what Windtuck was until, when they came around. But I don't even know if they were selling Windtuck then. I, I think it was watching somebody, and I was like, "Oh, what's Windtuck? Oh, it's from them." And then I saw that I think somebody had sent me some or something, so I had a skein. But that was like a family member from a long time ago. But my favorite yarn was Lion Brand, the Jamie Baby yarn, and I'm like, start doing Jamie Baby yarn again because it was just my absolute favorite. Absolute.
I actually have Jamie Baby yarn.
Doesn't surprise me. I have like a little bit of leftover without the label anymore, but that was my favorite. I
Um,
made so many baby blankets with Jamie Baby yarn.
mine's all brand new, full skeins, labels.
Wow. If I ever come over and visit, you better watch it. No, I
Uh,
would never
and
take yarn from anybody.
and I also
Not
have
unless it was given. But
I
yeah,
also have
I would never steal from anybody ever.
I still have Windtuck yarn.
Although I tell Kathy I'm going to come over and visit her stash and take some of it. But she's very generous. She sent me a birthday box, and oh my goodness, I have my first Noro yarn I've ever gotten.
I'm not a fan of Noro.
I've never used it. It's beautiful to look at it. This was a beautiful one. Most Noro yarn, like when I watch a certain person who shows yarn and yarn and yarn and yarn, and her favorite in the Nora, I'm just like, ooh. I just look at it and I'm like, is that pretty? But the yarn that Kathy gave me is more of kind of like a rainbow color ish, kind of, not the actual rainbow colors. And it's beautiful. And I'm like, okay, I like that. But all of the other earthy, I mean, I love earth colors. I love browns. I love different earth colors, but I don't know. I don't like how they put Noro yarn together. I'm just not a fan. It
It's
depends. I mean,
so
some I am.
expensive.
Some's majorly gorgeous, so I would have to pick out what I wanted. But Kathy knows how I am and what I like, so she sent me something I loved.
Noro is just expensive,
Yes, it's very expensive.
and it's like
And they're probably going to raise the price now that Mr. Noro died. So Jennifer says I think she's saying his lives are so fun and last a long time. Kathy said beautiful mini skeins. My lives can last a long time too, and people say that I'm just too long-winded. So Jennifer, I found the price per hank for all three options is 75 cents. Wow. Wow. Just wow. So I did the math to see what was the best price. Just I want to visit Russ and just sit enjoying his yarn stash. I haven't seen his yarn stash yet. I've just within the last couple of weeks found his channel, but once I knew where he lived, I was like, I got to get a hold of him. And yeah, because I basically, if you weren't here when he said it, I lived like maybe 40 minutes probably away from him, if
well,
that.
my yarn is in totes in the back of the house, in the attic, in the living room, in the den, in in the dining room. There's yarn everywhere.
My husband jokes that I basically have yarn in every room of the house. And I'm like, no, I don't. I have it in rooms that I actually live in. And the only reason he told me I couldn't put any in my room, and at the time I think it was because we were sharing. He hits me when we sleep, so people on my channel know that. So we don't actually live sleep in, not because he wants to, but because he moves around. I woke up one night, he had hit me in the face, and I was like, okay, I'm going to start sleeping somewhere else. And he's just a very fidgety person at night, and he didn't mean to, and he couldn't keep himself, from doing it. So the solution was to just separate. And I think we both sleep much better this way, especially with the hours that he works. But in the room that I'm in, he had told me that I was not allowed. And then I'm like cleaning up the house just so we could have company over. And I'm like, all of my whips I put in there. I made a great big huge whip bag, and I just put all of my project packs in there. And I was like, or a basket, and I put that in there. And I'm like, sorry, it's got to go somewhere. But yeah, it's in this room. And then I have a shelf in our back room. I used to be a direct sales for Jamberry Nails, which you may not have heard of, but some of the women may have, before they went out of business. So I have this shelf just full of all of my nail stuff and everything from being with them for a couple of years. So I need to actually start selling off some of that and take off the room from the shelf and start filling it in with yarn now that I have a lot more. So, and I have some good hand-dyed stuff. And like I said, I can't wait. I need to start looking and find sales for acid dye, since he said that he would actually help me do some, get it mixed at least outside, then we can bring it inside. Yep. And make some acid dye yarn. That would be so cool. I have Easter egg dye from last year I haven't used yet. I want to try to do some speckled yarn with that. I think that would be really cool. Really nice bright colors. Jennifer says, my bedroom has a lot of yarn in drawers and canvas totes and on shelves too. Yeah, well, in the room that was ours, I had one big box, and that was all the baby yarn, and that's all the yarn I used to have. But then I also had yarn because I did plastic canvas stuff for a while. And I do have a bag. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. My nephew started making a project for my husband, and it got cut wrong, and he just left it there. And I've got to see if I can salvage it, or I don't know if I'll just use the yarn to crochet with and just say, sorry, not doing that. And my husband did find a bag that had slipped underneath the bed that had some the Simply Soft that had the old label on it, and some other yarn that I had made some slippers for his mom, and I can't even remember the name of the yarn anymore. But I don't see it anymore, but it's in the back room, so I'm not about to try and go and find what it is right now. But it was a really nice soft yarn too that I made her slipper-ups out of. But it always, every once in a while, I think I miss, there used to be, well, we used to have a couple little yarn shops here and where I live, and no more. Once Michael's came, everything closed. There used to be one downtown a couple of years ago, and it closed because I was real thrilled when that one was there. I was like, yay, a little yarn shop.
What was the big one that closed up? Erica's?
Yes. And I actually found Erica on what's the other place? Not YouTube, Facebook. And she has a group on Facebook, but she moved. That's why they closed up, because she moved. And she was always nice to me, but other people in there weren't as nice, because once they found out that I crocheted, it's like they were like, oh, okay. And they turn around and go the other way. And I'm like,
yeah, if you
no, I don't knit,
Oh, yeah.
Or so, at the time, but I love the place. I used to go there all the time before they moved. And then when they moved, I'd go there when I could, because they were closer to me before they moved. And actually where they were before, weren't they by the airport before they moved? I think they were by the airport before they moved, before everything got changed. There used to be a craft store, I think, where they were, that was called Things to Do when I was little. I mean, I went there. My mom used to take me there on Saturdays for crafting and stuff. And I can remember going there and doing bead crafts of like ornaments and things. That's what I wanted to ask you. How long have you lived in the area? Have you been here your whole life or?
No, I come to Niles around 2004.
Okay.
Um, and then I moved to Niles in 2006.
Okay. So when you got here, Erica's would have been in the one place where they were when they closed. Okay. So you
Yeah.
wouldn't know. Um,
But if you went into Erica's and for anything other than fabric, forget it.
they had a little section for yarn in the
Very
back.
little.
Very little. There was a time when that little section used to be like 5 times that size. I mean, she used to have quite a bit of yarn. And she had knitting classes and stuff. And that's when they were in the other part before they moved over there. And when they moved over there on Edison Road, um, it was just mainly sewers because that's all the classes she had and stuff. And I guess she said the other people kind of died off. And that was during the time when I really wasn't crocheting as much. Because when I started crocheting again, I went in there and I'm like, what happened to the yarn? You know? But there was a little yarn shop that was on 31 before they started redoing 31. That was right before Leidick. And there's that gas station, if you know where I'm talking about. There was
I don't
Country
remember that.
Gardens or something, a gas station. It was right across the street. There was this little salvage yard that was full of junk in this building that every time you go by it, all you'd see was windows and just a bunch of junk all around inside of it. And then either right past it or right before it, there was this little tiny quaint cottage like building and it had a little yarn shop in there. I went in there and I laugh about this every time. I got my first Plymouth yarn. And I remember saying to the lady, and she did not correct me. I said, "Oh, wow." I'm like, "Plymouth has a yarn company in Plymouth?" As in Plymouth, Indiana. And she didn't say anything or anything. And I came home to my husband going, "Oh my goodness, I found Plymouth yarn and it came from Plymouth." You know? And then as I learned yarn later, I'm like, dummy, that came from Pennsylvania. But I just thought that was so funny. And he was not, actually, I was working at the time, so he didn't know how much I paid. And I mean, even though I had worked with yarn for so long, I still forgot sometimes that they had different weights, that you get the same color in different weights. Because all I cared about was the color. When I went in there, I saw this color, I wanted it. And she said, "Well, I have a little bit more like this," but she never said the different weights. So I ended up coming home with worsted weight and DK.
Oh,
But it was fine because I was making, at the time, you could get little, I think it was 10-inch dowels. And I was making the big puffy dresses. I made one for my daughter, which hadn't even been thought of at the time. She was adopted. And but as soon as I knew she was coming, I made one for her. I had a dowel left because I couldn't find them anymore. But I made one for my goddaughter. I made one for my niece. But I found this when Things to Do was going out of business. I bought up a lot of different patterns and things. And this was in the no, I was working at the pharmacy then. So this was after I came home from school. So this was early 90s and they went out of business. I bought up every pattern I could buy. I bought up a ton of yarn. I made my mom an Afghan. It was the first big Afghan. Terry says, "Good night, gotta go." Thanks, Terry, for coming in. I'm lost again. Kathy said, "I moved my clothes out of the closet so I had room for yarn." Yeah, I remember that. Terry said, "Oh boy, Kathy." Jennifer said, "I started watching BOD and ordered all this yarn. I had a couple of boxes before getting my stash." Okay, and everybody's saying goodnight to Terry. But I bought all this yarn in the colors that I knew my mom liked, Southwestern colors, and I made her first, and like my first grown-up Afghan, and all of these patterns of stuff I wanted to make. And this dowel pattern was one of them. And I had bought some of the dowels, and every crochet hook, every size she had left. I bought every crochet hook for like a nickel, or no, 10 cents, I think. So I bought all these things, and my husband was like, when are you going to use all that? I'm like, whenever. I mean, I got them for 10 cents. And plus I had bought plastic canvas and stuff that him and I did together and gave out as Christmas gifts. But I just stocked up, and all that stuff's been gone for a while. But I got all my steel crochet hooks then. And then I was getting Annie's Attic magazine, and I started making little doilies, and things. So I know I can make the little stuff. It's just getting myself to make the socks. But that made me think of something. I don't remember. It made me think of something, and I lost it just that quick. Oh, I was going to ask Connie about this, but she already left. I meant to ask her when I was talking to her earlier today. One thing I found that they still had on clearance when I went to Hobby Lobby the other day was they had the Knit Pick bamboo needles, knitting needles, and I got every size I could get. I got some of them for 50 cents. Some of them were like 99 cents. Some of them were $1.25, as they went up in size. I got every single one I could get. And my husband was just looking at me like I was nuts. And I'm like, I want to learn how to knit. And I was told that knitting with bamboo was probably the easiest at first because it grabs the yarn. I'm like, I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what I was told. And then I also got the connectors. I got 2 bags of connectors for 99 cents each. But they didn't have the wires. And I told them, I said, you know what? Even if I had to pay full price for the wires, I got a steal for how much I paid for all of those. And they still had some left. I was just like going, okay. And I was like, please let them have 9s. Everybody talks about making socks on circular 9s, and they had 9s. I was like, or maybe not, or somebody talks about it.
Okay.
Or maybe she makes her hats on circular.
Okay. Now, if you're talking about the 9-inch length, then yes. But if you're talking about the thickness of it, no.
Okay. Well, I wasn't sure. Like I said, I got one of everything from the smallest to the thickest that they had left.
Because I've got 2 sizes of the 9-inch circulars. And
yeah,
for hats and socks.
And my friend had sent me a lot of like the long knitting needles. Not the circulars, but just the regular long.
The fixed?
They're like that long. They're like very long.
Oh, straights.
Yes, straight knitting needles. Sorry, I'm not
you're fine.
Used to the vernacular yet. She sent me a lot of the straight knitting needles, but she didn't send me, I don't think, any DPNs. So they had like one size of DPNs that they had on clearance. So I grabbed those 2. I was like, I'll need those for something.
DPNs is you're either going to like it or you're going to hate it.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I was like, even if it's just for holding stitches, I'm like, I'll need them for something. So I grabbed those 2. I think they were 99 cents. So I was like, I mean, you can't beat 99 cents. So I just grabbed them. I was surprised to see they had needles and stuff on clearance. They didn't have any crochet hooks, but they had the needles.
Well, it's 9:43.
Yes.
If there's no other questions.
Nope. Thank you so much for being here with me tonight, Russell. And
you are very welcome.
Maybe sometime in the future we can do this again. I did ask people to give questions, but nobody did. So I was giving you all my own that I had. So
perfectly fine.
I love to do this, and I do love to have people on more than once. So, and I'll be watching you, and hopefully you and I can chat back and forth and get to know each other better.
Definitely.
So thank you, everybody, for coming and joining us. I hope you had a wonderful time, and see you soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.